difficult to explain. No one recognized prettily in the golden light from the lantern in the dining room behind them. Well...
Hi everyone. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Julianne. If you are new around these parts, thank you so much for joining me, and if you are returning, welcome back. I am here because I've managed to get my Vistamatic knitting machine working. So I have been playing around with this one because this one, I don't believe it actually needs a foam bar. My other one does, which I have now. I have them in my hot little hands. I just don't have the adhesive yet to put them, to actually install them. But this one, apparently it doesn't appear to need a sponge bar because the needle retaining bar that is in there is holding my needles down firm and they're not rattling around at all. And I am able to knit on this. So I thought I would go through some of it today because I didn't film any of my practice up to this point because nobody wants to see me swearing and screaming and getting upset, least of all me. I don't want to edit that footage. But yesterday I knit a sock and it is not seamed, it is not finished because it is huge. Knit this, I used a tutorial from, oh my goodness, I can't remember her channel. I will put a link probably up in the doobly-doo to her channel. She is a machine knitter. She is on a mission to create more machine knitters, so I found her channel and she had this flatbed sock. She has like calculations on her website where you can go and plug in your own details and it will give you a pattern, a generator, that's the word. So I used her generator. I did drop a stitch just there, which is kind of annoying. But this is a larger gauge than my regular socks. So I think I need to go down on gauge because this is huge. Even though it's supposed to fit my foot, it is a lot bigger than my regular. So I don't know if you'll be able to quite see. This is my hand knit sock on 2.5mm needles, and this is on my knitting machine on tension 5. I used tension 5 because I made just a little practice piece the other day with that leftover fruit punch yarn. It came out the right, so a very similar gauge to what the generator suggested, but it is obviously a lot bigger than my hand knit sock. So I was thinking today perhaps we can go through and try and re-knit this sock and get it in a smaller gauge. I think I need to go down to at least a 3 to get something closer to what my hand knit socks are. I did compare the gauge and I believe this is about 7.5 stitches per inch, whereas that my own sock is about 8.5. So it's just that little bit smaller. So I think if I at least do a 3 or a 4, I'll probably get a very similar gauge to my hand knit socks. So let's frog what I have already made and yeah, see if we can bump down the tension a little bit, get some smaller stitches, and see if we can get a sock that's a little bit closer to my hand knit socks. Okay, now that my yarn is all wound back into balls, I accidentally broke my sock yarn when I was knitting yesterday, so it's in two balls. I'm going to get ready to cast on my sock again. I think because I'm going to do less, a smaller gauge, I'm going to use my regular stitch count. The form that I filled in, the auto-generated one that I filled in yesterday, had 70 stitches for my size, and also that gauge was larger. More stitches obviously is going to make a bigger sock. I don't need that bigger sock. I usually cast on 64 stitches on a 2.5mm needle for my hand knit socks. So I think I might go down to, because I have 2 stops in between each number on my dial. So you've got like 3.3, 3.6, 4 essentially. You know, you kind of get what I'm saying. So I think possibly what I will do is I will go down to 3 for the rolled hem and 4 for the main body of the sock. So that is what I'm going to try. I'm going to start by casting on some waste yarn again and then get to knitting the sock. You get to watch that. So I hope you enjoy. This is not really a tutorial. I can show a tutorial if you guys are interested in doing machine knitting, but there are obviously people who are far more experienced than I am who are probably better for you to seek out for tutorials, at least at this point in time when I'm still learning. So without further ado, I think I'm going to cast on this sock and you guys can watch me do it. Hopefully there won't be a lot of swears and screaming, but we will see how we go. Getting serious. Light is on, hair is back. So I've done my folded hem and everything so far is going well. I had a quick look. It's probably going to be really hard to show you guys, but I've had a quick look at what the gauge kind of looks like on that folded hem, and 3 is very tight. So I think 4 is going to be perfect for my sock. And you have to remember as well, it's kind of under tension. It's being stretched sideways because it's on those needles. So once it comes off those needles, it's going to snug up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead now and knit the leg, and then I will maybe change up angles. I'll show you how it goes when I start the heel. So the heel is a short row heel. Unfortunately, I don't have an overhead, the ability to do an overhead shot, so you're just going to have to kind of snug in on the side of me. But for now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to do the leg backwards and forwards for probably 50 rows or so. Usually before I start the heel on a hand knit sock, I do about 60 rows, and because I've got that folded hem of about 10 rows, like it was 20 rows folded in half, so it's about 10 rows, so I think that'll be close to my usual sock length, and then we can start the short row heel. have done the leg of my sock. I'm now ready to start the short row heel. This is where I had a lot of missteps last time. I dropped a lot of stitches, but so far so good. The leg, the rolled hem all came out fine, so I'm assuming my practice helped. The only problem is I am getting pretty low on that first ball of yarn, so I have to be really careful to not run out, because when on a knitting machine, if you don't have yarn coming through the tension and through the carriage and you roll across, it will actually drop all the stitches off. So that is something I don't want to do. I don't want to have to hand put on 64 stitches, because I did that with 70 stitches yesterday and it was not fun. I have to be very, very conscious of that yarn running out. All right, let's do this. Okay, so that was mostly okay. I dropped a few stitches on when I added my waste yarn at the end. Yeah, just here for some reason I think my stitches might have been too far back on the bed and they'd actually dropped off, so when I put my waste yarn on it didn't pick them up, but I managed to pick them up by hand. So it's going to make grafting the toe a little bit harder, but that's okay, because basically you short row your heel and you short row your toe. So I have my toe all ready to go. It needs to seam across the top and then seam down the side. So first sock is done, and actually it wasn't anywhere near as bad as yesterday, and no drop stitches, everything worked out fine. I think my gauge is a lot closer. If we hold these up together, I feel like the gauge is a little bit closer. It's not quite as small, I don't think, so this sock may still be a touch big, but again, it's only just come off the machine, so it's got to settle a little bit. It's a little bit stretched, so it will kind of snug in a little bit after resting for a while, so I think it's pretty close. Either way, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the second sock, and then I will check back in with you a little bit later. Hi, it is later in the afternoon and I have left it a little bit to check back in with you because I've started seaming one of these socks. So I successfully got 2 socks done. So here's the second one that I haven't started seaming yet. So it's basically a mirror image of the first one. Well, I think this is the first one. I think I started seaming the second one. But anyway, they're mirror images of each other. So the seams will run down opposite sides. So I have one sock, and then this one is getting close to being finished. So I had to graft some stitches across the front. You can probably just see them across there. They're a bit fluffier than everything else. They kind of got a little bit more fluffy, maybe a bit felted, but it's like a near invisible join on the top of the foot. So that's all been done. I realized that I actually reduced too many stitches in the toe. I should have actually probably been more there, but whatever. I've just got the pixie toes on these ones. I'm still pretty pleased with the fabric. I think it's pretty close to my hand knit socks. So as you can see, for now I'm just mattress stitching the edge. So that's where I'm mattress stitching, just down here. You can kind of see it if I pull it open. So I'm a bit concerned by the bulk in the seaming stitch. So I don't know if there's a less bulky way of seaming it. I guess that's something to look into because I feel like that might rub in shoes. Probably not ideal, but I mean, the fact that I can crank out a pair of socks in one day, it might make this worth it for like bed socks or something like that, for just wearing around the house in winter. Maybe not in shoes, but we will see how it feels when I have put that all together. So I'm only about halfway up the foot in my seaming, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. I think I was pretty pleased. I think it was a pretty successful day of cranking out a pair of socks, and I got to use up some scraps, some more yarn from my stash. I think there was about 80 grams left in that bowl, and there's just a little bit left now. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased, and hopefully these feel okay once I put them on. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see some more knitting machine videos, please let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Give the video a thumbs up if you really liked it, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. But other than all of that YouTube rubbish, I just want to again say thank you for watching and wish you all a really great day, and thank you for spending some of your time with me today, and I guess happy knitting. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.